All right. Welcome to Nicole's barber shop. Except not barber shop, actually.
Hair salon.
Welcome to Nicole's hair salon. This is my client, my gracious mother, who has let me experiment on her hair. As you can see, her hair's a little bit grown out during this quarantine time, and by golly, I'm going to do my best to cut it without completely desecrating all that she holds dear in this world. Granted, I am not a hairstylist. I've never actually cut anyone's hair, except for Barbie's right before this to do a test run. Did not turn out well, so hopefully that was not an omen. And I do think I'm qualified for this, though, because I've watched countless hundreds of hours of hair cutting videos on YouTube. So, Brad Mondo, if you're watching this is for you. Unless it looks bad, in which case it's not. Alright, we're going to start off by wetting the hair. Mom, tell me if this, I tried to make it so the water was warm so it doesn't shock you or anything. How's that?
Fine.
Alright. I've seen mixed opinions about whether, when cutting your hair at home, to have it be wet or to leave it dry. I feel like if you have curly hair, you should leave it dry so you can get an accurate idea of what the length is going to be when the whole cut, is actually blown out and styled and stuff, since that curly hair is going to shrink really quickly. But for finer hair and hair that isn't naturally that curly, I think wetting the hair should be fine. I'm also doing this in the shower. Ooh. So that way, one, easier cleanup, and two, because we're using water. Does it feel just like you're at the salon?
I'm telling you, I thought I was.
You need any water, snacks?
They don't offer those at the salons that I go to.
You've not been going to the most upscale of salons known to man. Now we're going to gently comb out the wet hair. Was it getting in your eyes?
Nope, just rolling down my face. It's okay.
You have such lovely, delicate hair.
Oh, why, thank you.
If I'm able to edit this video correctly, I will be able to insert pictures here of what my client has requested for this haircut. You'll notice that this is, I believe the terminology is feathered layers, but don't quote me on that because I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait, what?
So, not the easiest of first time looks to be trying to cut someone else's hair as. But I have a history of trying things for the first time, but at a level that is just so far above what I should even be thinking about attempting. Case in point, I do not cook, but the first time I ever tried to cook, I decided it would be a really great idea to try to recreate Outback Steakhouse's bloomin' onion, which involves a big old pot of oil that you have to deep fry an onion in, and nobody told me that oil doesn't boil, but it does have an ignition point. We learned that pretty quickly. So, first things first, sectioning. I'm actually going to put these scissors back down. Based off of the videos I have seen, you're going to want to basically section it so you've got the sides and the middle, kind of following, a lot of tutorials mention following the shape of the head.
What shape is my head?
Potato.
Okay.
I'm kidding, it's beautiful.
Hmm.
Alright. sure that it's even on both sides. Let me take a little bit more from over here. Man, them hairstylists in the videos make this look a lot easier than it is. Okay, so length. One of the videos I watched was you want to determine what the longest length is going to be first, and that way you never wind up cutting above that. That's not necessarily your guide cut, but show me with, point out on the back of your neck where you would like the end of your hair.
There.
Alright, so what I'm gonna do, that's about an inch. You can't see it, but we are working with one camera, so I'm not going to be changing the angle or messing up our very precarious setup. You're going to comb the hair out. You can do it in small sections. Separate the hair a little bit more. This would be easier if I had those fancy clips. And then we use our fabric scissors to make the first snip. All right, no blood was drawn. Off to a great start. I should mention, we're using fabric scissors because these are the sharpest scissors that we have in the entire house. Yes, we do have actual hairstylist kind of cutting scissors, but those are ancient and can't even cut paper, so we're not going to use those. Now use that cut as a guide for the other unruly hair.
The nice thing for you is I can't see back there, so even if you make a mess of it, I won't see it.
I promise it's looking real good right now. Granted, there's a lot of hair that's getting inside the towel, but that's okay. Alright, now I'm just going to continue doing that all throughout the bottom of the hair, that way I can make sure it's nice and even all the way around before we start getting to the actual layering part. I'm very envious. I wish I could do the little flippy move that the hairstylists do. You know what I'm talking about? Where they got the comb and the scissors in one hand.
Oh, yeah.
And we're gonna keep, you'll notice, welcome to my tutorial, you'll notice that I am taking my guide cut and slowly making my way around the head instead of just, pulling some hair from the side here to the back and cutting. It's called over-directing, and it's bad most of the time. Because what it does is it creates an excess of hair without you really seeing it, and therefore your measurements get all wonky when you're actually cutting and measuring it out. You know what I mean?
Yes, it just gets very jagged.
It's better, even if we decide to go back later and say, we can go a little bit shorter, but you can't go a little bit longer.
This is true.
Can you angle your head down? Thank you. Is that your neck that cracked?
Yeah, just my neck. That's all right.
How do you feel about having me this close with a pair of scissors to your carotid artery?
I was just thinking about that.
The fact that I used to think it was carotid instead of carotid.
Carotid. Well, I was thinking more about the fact that if you poke my carotid artery, this whole hair thing may be useless,
We've cut the length. Now, we're going to start on the actual layering part. First things first, we've got these good sections, but a lot of the tutorials I watched mentioned that when cutting, you're going to want to separate it so that the hair goes, you create a section that basically is, one second, let me really define this. and turn your head this way. This section goes right behind the ear. And that's so that you can, I think it changes up the way that you wind up cutting the hair, like horizontal versus vertical. And also like the pieces in front of the ear are responsible for face framing and stuff. So you just want to keep it all separate.
Really makes you appreciate fairy, huh?
Oh yeah, and like keep in mind the hairstylists are doing this at 900 miles an hour.
And 20 times a day,
Yeah.
probably, or 15.
Granted, those 20 times a day is probably what helps them be able to do it at
Exactly.
90 miles an hour. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our first cut, and it's going to be called our guide cut, and it's the most important cut because it is what guides the rest of the hair that gets cut around the head.
So I shouldn't sneeze while you're cutting.
No, that would be a bad idea.
Okay.
For many reasons, not just messing up your hair. These are incredibly sharp scissors.
Yeah.
So, you have the crown of your head, and we're going to take a section, a horizontal section, from the crown of the hair. I'm keeping this section really small. And now we might have to temporarily have you stand up because I need you to be able to tell me how much to take off. All right. So if I've edited the video correctly, you did not see us do an awkward shuffle to the mirror and then sit back down. But we've determined about 2 inches off the top will be nice. For right now, I'm actually probably going to go closer to like 1.5. Because again, start off a little bit longer, and then we can go back in and shorten if we need to. So, will you hold this for a second? Is that your tummy?
Stop that.
And I should mention, when you pull the hair up, you should be pulling it 90 degrees off the head, straight up and out. All right, and that's our guide cut. It looks great already. You know what? I think you're good to go. Thank you for coming to my tutorial.
But I just was thinking maybe a little bit more off the
Now,
side.
off the side. Now, here's what we are going to do. I'm going to leave this hair. I'm going to actually just comb it all the way to the front.
Kind of what I remember Fairy doing.
Yes.
She must have watched this tutorial also.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to take a section. We're going to actually, in a tutorial I watched, this person kind of divided the cut that we just made in two. Brush one piece off to one side and the other piece off to the other side, and that way we can take a section over here, pull it up 90 degrees off the head, and then use our guide right here to cut anything that is not in line with that guide. Man, I'll tell you what, these fabric scissors are quite bulky. Beautiful, exemplary, extraordinary. And I'm just talking about the client. Now we're gonna, again, take that guide, pull it over to the edge of our section, cut it there. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Take a section that includes part of our initial guide cut. Comb it up. Cut off anything that's not in line. So tell me about yourself.
I'm retired now. My children, 3 of them work for nonprofits, and the 4th one works for a private company, but a lot of their proceeds also go to a nonprofit. So they're good people.
All right, I'm going to have to ask you to stop talking for a second.
Yes,
We've gotten to a new step in the process. So now that we've done that section and cutting, we're going to actually start taking vertical sections around the back of the head, not the front pieces and not the top, and take vertical sections. And what we're going to do is we're going to, if you could turn your head this way, okay. We are going to essentially take a section. Remember that we have our guide cut up top, but we don't have any cut down here. We're going to comb it out, and now we're going to use that guide cut right here and cut anything else that does not fall in line with the guide cut. And that's essentially how layers are created. So what I've done, just to keep you updated, is I'm trying to take it kind of layer by layer. So I'll start around kind of the top of the back of the head, and once I'm done with that, I'm going to move down to kind of the middle part of the middle band of the back of the head, and continue to once again take that guideline, pull the hair out 90 degrees from the head, snip off anything that doesn't fall in line with the guideline, and that's what creates the layered effect as far as I know. But I did not go to hair school, so we'll see.
It sounds a lot like geometry, you know, the lines and angles and so forth.
And tell me, how you took geometry once, right?
Well, twice, yeah. Yes, I did.
What was the grade you got one time?
An F-1.
Interesting. See, because I didn't know that was a grade that you could get.
I think it was created specifically for me.
Wow,
Yeah.
so special.
Yes, it just, you know. But the second time around, my tutor and I worked together, and I ended up getting a much better grade.
Oh, excellent.
She was a friend of the family, too, so that helped. You know.
I think it's looking really good back here.
I'm glad to hear that.
Just going to re-wet the hair a little bit. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much well, I mean, it's a moot point at this current juncture, but how much confidence do you have in me being able to pull this off?
At the least 8.
Oh.
Out of 10, of course. And only that because I have to have some drama in this video. But I don't really ever recalling you attempting anything that you didn't do well in, so you got
Except
that.
Algebra 2. But we made it through, folks. That's what matters.
And you know, algebra was the one math thing that I was good in. Isn't that something?
Oh, so why didn't you give me those genes?
I don't know.
Selfish.
Yes, well, you know, I did give you beauty, so.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You did also give me tiny garden gnome stature. So.
Well, I do what I can.
The important genes are the ones that got through. All right, I'm gonna have you angle your head down again. I'm gonna do one more pass through to see if there's any other spots that need to be taken care of. So. Just double checking. I just laughed because your hair stood straight up when I let go of it.
It's probably that glue I put in it, you know. So
yeah.
It's a good thing to use.
All right, we're gonna have that be good enough for now. So I want to say the next step would be to take the guide cut. And then I think we start incorporating some of this middle. I think you do like some of the middle hair, and then we'll use the middle hair as guides for the side hair.
Whatever you say is fine with me.
You usually have like a little bit of you have a little bit of hair that goes in the front. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to.
Fairy makes it into like long bangs, but I always push it off to the side. So.
Right.
From here it looks like you're wearing white gloves.
Because I'm just so pale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now that the top is cut, I'm going to start taking these guide cuts and bringing them down the sides, except for a little bit in the front. And you still wanted to have, like, keep hair over the ear and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Not all, it doesn't have to be all the way over the ear. I mean, down-wise.
Right.
Just, there's one of those pictures had the person, the hair was all the way around the ear,
Mm-hmm.
but not over it, and I don't like that. That's why Fairy always asks me, do you want it over the ear or on the ear?
See, that's so interesting, because when you first emailed me those pictures, one of the subject line was like, this except not over the ear. And to me, over the ear means hair is covering over the ear.
I get you, yeah.
So I was like, I'm confused. And now what we're going to try to do is kind of blend the front, or blend the back with the side sections, which, if I've done my job correctly, and who's to say that I have, it shouldn't be too difficult. Turn your head this way, and tilt that way. Is that your neck again?
Yes. Doesn't hurt, it just makes a noise.
Alright, what I'm going to do here, because I'm very worried about just doing like a straight whoosh and having it look ugly, is I'm going to do this thing called point cutting to take away length and hopefully not like create any harsh lines.
You're cutting straight?
So, yeah, so I'm basically cutting up rather than...
That's what Fairy does that too.
In order to get it so that it's halfway up the ear, but without it just being a straight across jut. I hope this is kind of the right call.
Well, like I said, that's exactly what Fairy does, so I would guess that it's a good move.
Right, but does she do it over the ears?
I don't know. I'm not sure. All I know is I've seen her do it, and I just wasn't paying attention as to where exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously it wasn't in the back because I wouldn't be able to see her. And what is the effect supposed to be? Just like a poofy whatever?
Well, you're removing length, but instead of it being just like a harsh, cut, blunt line,
Right.
it's a lot softer.
Got it.
And it hides mistakes better.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe there is. I don't know. Was. I don't think he's...
Ooh! Sorry, I just cut a part and it looks really good. And now I just have to not mess it up. Not that, I mean, obviously, Mom, all of my cuts have been really good.
I have
Yes.
no doubt.
Back to snipping. Doing what the hairstylist do and checking the length.
I see that.
I think it's pretty relatively even. And if not, we'll just part your hair to a different side.
Ah, okay.
Easy fix. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's quite right.
Does Fairy ever poke you in the eye with the fine tooth comb?
No, I've never had that happen, but
She hasn't learned that technique yet.
apparently not.
Alright, we're pretty even on top. right, and now the front. We're just gonna, all right. How high up would you like the bangs to be?
Not very, you know what I'm saying. Let's see. About,
Okay, like half inch above the eyebrow? Okay.
yeah.
So I wonder.
And again, it's something where I can push it off to the side,
Right.
which I usually do anyway, so.
Probably a little, like, ever so slightly more. Right?
Mhm.
Less?
Yes. No. Yeah, less. Just maybe a tiny bit more.
Now what I'm gonna do is point cut. I bet this is a great shot for the audiences at home.
I'm sure.
Me standing directly in front of you.
The decision's pointed at my eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it already looks 100% better, just, you know, not doing any normal stuff to it, like blow drying it and moussing it or whatever.
And now we check, look at me. I saw that.
Just near my ear.
Slight grimace. All right. Shall we blow dry you and get your hair curled a little bit?
Certainly.
Go ahead and remove your apron. I'm going to stop this recording because it's an hour long so far, but we'll come back with the results. All right, look at the camera, Mama.
Oh.
Well, I have mirrors, don't worry. You'll be able to actually see it. But we've blow dried the hair so it's actually dry and not dripping into her shirt unknowingly. Did not realize it, but her shirt's pretty wet. That's okay. It happens to the best of us, even professionals.
That's very true. I've had that many times.
So now we are going to reveal your haircut.
Oh my goodness, that looks quite fabulous.
And then if you would like to look at the back, I have this tiny, disgusting, grody hand mirror. So I don't know how you would like me to.
Why don't I take that one and you put that one back here so I can.
Okay.
Because it's
Just tell me where to angle it.
this way a little bit more,
Which way?
towards the left. Oh wow! I'll see it from the side too. Excellent. I could not have had it better at the beauty salon.
Thank you kindly. Now we are once more going to go off camera. She's going to curl her hair how she usually does it because I do not know. And we will show you the final look up close. That noise sounded like I tooted, but I didn't. It was just my foot rubbing against the tub. Alright, we're back with the final look. Hair has been curled, and let's take you in close so we can get a good shot. I shouldn't have started this video facing forward, but that's okay. Here it is from the front.
Yeah.
Let me see. From the side. Can you stand up? And we'll face me, and that way the outside light, that's perfect. Here it is from the back. Notice all the layers. And then the other side. Look at that volume. All right. We're just gonna sit in a pile of hair. That's okay. All right, well, thank you for watching if you did watch. It's okay. It happens at... No, we're good. I thought the mirror broke. I don't think it did. I think it turned out pretty well. What are your thoughts? Be honest.
I am thrilled. I was working on an 8 out of 10, but I'm right up there at 10 out of 10. It looks fantastic.
I promise I am not holding a knife to her back right now for her to say that, nor has this been paid for or sponsored by her. These are all true testimonials. So if you'd like to book any appointments with me, I am not available. I don't know how to wrap this up. How do you think we should wrap it up? This will all be cut out, don't worry.
Let's see.
I need a charismatic way to end the video. Some kind of pizzazz.
Well, you could say something like, this has been a stuck-at-home video presentation.
There we go. I like that. This has been a stuck-at-home video presentation, and I'll see you in the next one.